Hello and welcome to Back to the Boardroom, the Apprentice podcast. I'm Greer.
And I'm James.
And this week we're going to talk all about children's storybooks. And some of it is going to be probably worse than others.
Yes. I don't even know what to say. A bit crass.
Very, very rude, but not funny for children, apparently.
No, they were not amused. For this task, the candidates had to come up with a story aimed at 4 to 6 year olds, but both do a book and audiobook, pitch it to retailers, and then negotiate for sales. And of course, the most sales wins.
So there were some good top moments this week.
On the topic of team selection, I think one of my best moments around that was when they picked, I think Kieran was picked as the sub-team leader, and Dan goes, "Can I ask the rationale behind that? Is he a designer?"
I really enjoyed that as well. That's the sort of thing that I'd like to ask people all the time when they make a decision, perhaps at work or in my personal life. What is the rationale behind that? I might save that written down. A really pedantic one that I'm going to bring up. Karen kept saying zebra, and it just annoyed me. I was just like, it's zebra. Come on, why are you saying zebra? I don't know. Maybe she's just Baroness Brady. She's international, spends time globally and in America, and says Z, but I don't know, it just wound me up slightly.
Do you know, I did not notice that.
And you're the detail-oriented one out of the two of us.
That's bad on me. On the list. I've got to go there with the toilet humour, but I did enjoy the synopsis. Gino the giraffe takes a poo on Uranus.
Yes. I mean, if they were going to go that way, I don't know what made them think Uranus was too much. But yeah, I've written in capital letters astronaut poo. Never thought I'd write that on Google Docs, but I have. I also thought it was kind of clever to link it into a traditional fairy story that you could use as a basis. But we've gone from Goldilocks trying the three bears as porridge to then an astronaut sitting on a toilet saying, "Oh no, this toilet is too big, too small, and just right." I don't know. I've TMI, but I've never thought, "Oh, this toilet's too big" in my life. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to respond to that. You have.
Yes. To cut a long story short, at one of my relatives' house, there is the toilet we call the throne because it is quite a high toilet, so your feet don't touch the floor when you're sitting on it.
Wow, so you've got good posture sat on there.
Yes. TMI. We'll move on.
Love it. Going back to the boys and their design, I really enjoyed the quote when they were discussing about what colour the astronaut's outfit was going to be. They said the quote, 5 and 6 year olds aren't going to know what people look like in prison, because he was wearing an orange jumpsuit. I just thought that out of context, that was a great line. Yeah,
definitely. There was a lot of talk on colour and the fact that there was no colour brief given. I don't know whether that much detail needed to be said. Yes, the brief seemed pretty light, but is colours a bit too much?
I think that's a bit much. Use some creativity, I guess, in the sort of meeting. I also wrote down another thing about colouring is they were talking about Andrea's book, and the best quote I think perhaps in the whole episode is, "The book she wrote must have been a colouring book because this is a travesty."
Yes, that was the next thing I was about to say.
The best line.
Funny. And my final moment from the episode was in the selling negotiations part, where Priyesh just jumps in with 50 to 60,000 to Waterstones, and they were like, "No, we'll take 10 though."
Yeah, exactly. And didn't he come back in and say, "How many would you take?" And the woman was like, "I did just say we'd take 10. Burn.
Yes. I think he actually he lowered his expectations after they said 10 to 1,000.
That is true.
10 was... The deal was terminated at 10.
It was 10. It was just a good moment, a good episode for moments, really. I think the last one is just Marcus doing the pitch with a sort of cartoon poo emoji type hat on that he was wearing. Did you miss that?
I did not notice that.
Oh,
well, what is happening?
What is going on? That was so memorable. Yeah, he came out wearing just a poo around his head, as you do. That'll be something to convince buyers, surely. So a good episode for moments this week.
Yes, and speaking of moments, it's our moment.
No.
So, this is time for the elevator pitch. So if you're new here, this is where myself and Greer try and take on an Apprentice style themed challenge, but in about 60 seconds. Last week we had to try and guess what specific objects were, which I've already forgotten. And
I'm going to butt in and say, today I bought a takeaway coffee in Marks and Spencer's and I picked the cup up and I looked for a Zarf. There wasn't one, so I thought, am I going to burn my hands? But I said in my head, I really need a Zarf right now.
I cannot remember your one. Was it a Tibble or
a Fibble?
A Fibble.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, this week's task, obviously, on the topic of children's books. So, myself and Greer have got to come up with a story, to literally make it on the spot and tell it to you live in 60 seconds, but with a twist. So, are obviously, as always, the independent adjudicator has come up with two. I'm showing Greer on the camera two different scenarios.
I love this.
Whatever one you pick, there will be three different things. I think it's some sort of location, some sort of character, and some sort of emotion.
Ooh, okay.
And you have to fit all three in your story.
That is difficult. I get very excited and nervous when I see those bits of paper.
So, as always, I'll give you the honour of going first.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay.
But you do get to choose which story you want to.
I am going to go with the story that is facing closer to the camera. So, that one.
The diagonal one.
Yes, the diagonal one.
Okay, so.
Oh, I'm scared already. What are we going to get?
Reveal this. So, okay, interesting. I think you've got quite a nice triplet of things.
Okay.
So I think you're just going to have to go straight away, I think.
You've got to get that timer ready. So, okay, a story that involves the three things, and you'll just tell me when it's the end.
Yes, okay, so you got 1 minute for this story, Greer, and your story is going to contain a sweet shop, a giraffe, and jealousy. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay, so I guess, I've got to just tell it, like, once upon a time, there was a giraffe who was friends with a penguin. And they both went to the sweet shop, which they did after school every single day. And the penguin could reach only the sweets on the bottom shelf, but the giraffe could reach them on the top shelf. And so, there were some really good, like, amazing sweets that the penguin wanted that were on the top shelf, but the penguin was jealous because the giraffe could reach. And so one day they had a chat about this, and the giraffe said, actually, you know what? If you climb on my back and climb up my neck, we can get the best sweets on the top shelf together, so you no longer have to feel jealous. So this is the moral of the story is, if there's a problem or you have some jealousy, talk to your friends and family about it, and then it can be solved and everything will be fine.
Amazing.
I'm done.
With 5 seconds to spare.
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty good attempt.
Thank you. I felt like a children's story needs a moral, and I've gone back to it will all be fine.
I think that might have been better than finding the perfect planet for a poo.
I would hope so. Would a giraffe and a penguin be friends?
Maybe.
But
I guess you can get penguins in like places like South Africa.
Yes, African penguins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so giraffes might be there. Yeah.
I like it. Now I'm
works.
hoping what's on that second bit of paper is much harder than what I have got. I like the idea that the independent adjudicator has done one that's relatively kind and easy, and the other one is really, really difficult.
No, I don't. I hope that's not the case. Right. I am opening my...
Okay, let me get the time. So, you've got to tell me exactly what 3 words you have written down on the bit of paper, and then when you say your final one, I'll click the timer.
Okay, so I've got a narrowboat as the environment.
Ooh.
Very specific.
Yeah.
A penguin as the animal. And happiness as the emotion.
Okay, well, your time starts now.
Okay, well, once upon a time, there was a penguin who was on his narrowboat. And he was crossing a big sea. So the penguin got lost on the sea, but he wanted to keep a positive and happy mindset. But it was very hard because he could not see land. He kept going, he kept persevering, and eventually saw ice, I guess. And then slowly penguins started to appear. And the more he got nearer, the more he could see, and he was filled with happiness and glee.
Oh, a rhyme! I love it. With 7 seconds to spare.
Gosh.
Wow.
I was really struggling.
I could tell, but I still enjoyed the story. My favourite part is you've got quite a seafaring narrowboat there. It can withstand waves now.
I never said there was waves. It was a very calm sea.
Very calm sea.
Blimey.
I think we've both done pretty well.
That was stressful. I didn't like that. I thought yours was better.
Well, thank you. But I like you still had a moral there. Perseverance, even when you're doubting yourself, if you keep pushing forward and being resilient, everything will come right in the end.
What I like is that you added a penguin into your story without knowing that a penguin would come in mine.
That is so weird. Yeah.
Well, there we go. That was the elevator pitch. This week, get in touch. Tell us how we did. Give us your stories, I guess.
Yes. Do try this at home. Get somebody to write 3 things on a bit of paper and let us know how you do. And if you want to rate my elevator pitch and James's, let us know who you thought was the best. Then you can send us a message on WhatsApp or leave us a voice note on 07379 171 890, and we'd love to hear from you. Now it's time to go back to the boardroom, and this week there are a few really interesting things that we need to get into. Obviously, we've got the candidates' sales and what Lord Sugar thought of the actual ideas. He really didn't like the look or the sound of the poo one, obviously, and the zebra one, I think he thought was all right, but still could have been better. There was quite a bit in it, really, and I'm kind of glad the girls' team won, because that zebra was cute, and I couldn't have the pooping astronaut win.
Yes, exactly. So 2,855 versus 419, and they got all of the retailers to chip in.
Which is impressive.
It is.
Now, we had a weird moment in the boardroom that I think we need to discuss, and it does slightly link into your favourite segment on this show, the secretary segment. I'm sure she's been busy doing other things, but there was a moment she actually got another line. We're hearing more from her this year.
I know. You're doing my job for me.
Well, we have to bring it up because of what... let's talk about what Marcus did, and then you can go and tell us exactly what you noticed about the secretary. So Marcus, I don't know, it was a weird one. He said that he wanted to show Lord Sugar by putting himself forward as the project manager this week. He wanted to show what a real manager looked like and someone who was positive and did it well, and then failed to do any of it well, to the point that he wanted to come back in the boardroom and change his mind about the candidates he was going to bring back in. He was like, actually, no, I'm not going to bring Dan in, and wanted to bring, was it Priyesh back in?
Yes.
So yeah, that was a weird one. I don't think Lord Sugar was gonna listen to any of it. I thought he thought it was novel that he came back in and was like, actually, you know what? All of you come back in. This is ridiculous.
Indeed, the boardroom is there's definitely new bits this season, new bits. But anyway, yes. Before we carry on, we must go over to the secretary. As you alluded to a few seconds ago, the secretary did get a bigger part. We saw the secretary face to camera, and there was also, more spoken content than usual. So I think the secretary is actually, their role is evolving.
Do you think they've been listening to this podcast and thought, you know what, she's been doing that profit and loss table and the pie chart on Excel for months now, maybe we should give her something else to do? So she's been involved in the production this time.
Yeah, potentially. Credit where credit's due. Back to the Boardroom may have pioneered something. But as you talk about Excel, a few things to note with the secretary's work. So they've definitely upgraded. I think they're now on Windows 11.
Good to know.
They actually had Teams open with some notifications in the taskbar. I didn't see what they were. And it looks like they're running the new Excel with some pricing data. They had some bar charts and an exploded pie chart. And I did have to get up quite close for this. But I don't know why. I wanted to see if I could see the title of the document. And I couldn't see all of it, but it said something spreadsheet. So I'm thinking untitled spreadsheet or blank spreadsheet.
Yes. Definitely untitled. I love that you really created some tension there about getting up to the close to the television, and then you saw the word spreadsheet in the title. But that's good. She's got a lot to be getting on with. Microsoft Teams as well. That's a new addition.
Yes, that is true. Everyone's pet peeve.
Yes, no one likes Microsoft Teams.
If they know Microsoft Teams, yes.
Very true. So Marcus was the one that was fired this week. I actually thought that was the right decision. He was a bit sort of strange with his decisions throughout. One thing that I don't think they brought up, but I thought was really quite odd, was when they had the focus group and the children had given their opinions. They came back and wanted to share some of the negatives around the blank pages, no illustrations, and then also the children not finding it very funny. And Marcus was not interested in listening. Yes. He said several times, I don't want to hear the negatives at all. Others said, shall we vote on it? No vote at all. So weird. Can't really hear criticism, I thought, which isn't great. And it was quite a bit ego-driven. Sorry, Marcus, but you were. And that kind of, covered up any business acumen that really was going to shine through.
I think a bit of a couple of frosty encounters as well. I did think Kieran might go. I definitely think he's winding people up the wrong way, or at least that's what we're led to believe from what we see. And did you hear the quote, "Let the war begin"? Oh,
yes, that's quite fighting talk there. It was interesting. Lord Sugar, I think he did say that he's not sure if Kieran's personality is somebody that he really wants to work with. And he's a typical estate agent, which made me laugh. I thought that's either going to have estate agents around the country saying, hey, or giving a sort of knowing nod. I wasn't sure which one. But yeah, interesting comment that he perhaps may be going in a future week quite soon, because Lord Sugar wasn't sure if they'd gel.
Yes, either that or he has to show a change of attitude.
Definitely. So there's opportunity to come maybe for Kieran. And again, did you notice they got sent back to the house? No treat.
I have this on the notes to bring up. I am not impressed. Series 20 is supposed to be bringing out all the stops, but it sounds like Lord Sugar is saving the pennies and not sending them off to I guess, what would you do for storybooks? I don't know. Children's playground?
Yeah, something.
Soft play.
Adult soft play.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know. It's a bit sad, I was already with my spreadsheets ready to note down every treat and rate them. And, well, obviously they've been they've been pretty rubbish because they've been non-existent.
Exactly. Maybe he blew the budget on taking them all to Hong Kong on that first week, and then nobody else can enjoy a treat. But yeah, it feels weird when he's just saying in the boardroom, "Go away, go back to the house."
Exactly.
And that is it.
And now for my favourite part of the show. It's where we find out all of the juicy gossip and the detail behind the scenes. It's Apprentice News with Greer.
With me. So this week I've got a couple of news stories. One of them is surrounding Tom Allen, who is The Apprentice adjacent, because he left presenting You're Fired this season, and it's turned into Unfinished Business with Angela Scanlon. And it's sort of moved from a show that was in front of a live audience to a podcast. They're trying to do what the Traitors are doing with Ed Gamble, and there's lots of criticism online. But if you wondered perhaps why it had changed, Tom Allen has come out and said that he has a new gig. So obviously he is also a successful comedian doing lots of tours and shows. He's on the after show for the Great British Bake Off as well, where I'll be honest, he's the best part of that show, going around and annoying people with his rather long whisk. If you haven't seen it, you should, to get that reference. But Tom Allen now is going to be taking the stage in the West End in a new musical called Titanic. And it's based on the film Titanic, which charts the romance of Rose and Jack, but this time with numerous twists. He says it's kind of a camp comedy that you only really see in things like Airplane and Naked Gun and maybe 30 Rock. So I actually thought he would be pretty hilarious in that. But something pretty different. He's actually treading the boards now.
Yeah, that sounds quite good. I think it's been out for quite a while. I don't know if he's been involved in it, but I've heard of people who have seen it in the West End.
Ooh, I'd be intrigued to see if I can sort of know a bit more about the show, then I can imagine what Tom Allen might be doing. But I mean, anything he does is great. I think I would laugh at anything that he said, really. Other things to laugh about. Now, this is news, but it's also Lord Sugar's sort of own communications. If you still use Twitter, even though it's turned to hell, Lord Sugar is quite a funny yet divisive character to follow on there, because sometimes he tweets things that are quite older gentleman, a bit bumbling, including something he tweeted a few days ago where he quote tweeted a post that said, "Pork pies, yes or no?" And he just wrote yes, which I thought was funny. But he's come out to respond to a couple of media stories about The Apprentice, including one from Dan. Dan spoke to The Sun. Dan in this season, who is the student recruitment company owner and was in the boardroom just gone. He came out in the press and said that actually Lord Sugar does have a notepad in front of him with a pen in the boardroom, and he has jokes written down or questions written down on there so he can then share them with the candidates, because there's always a lot of speculation about whether he has writers or not. But Lord Sugar was kind of annoyed that Dan had said anything like this in the press, so he took to X and shared his sort of feedback, and as usual, it's bitey. So he said, recently media are speculating from info of a candidate that The Apprentice, in brackets my jokes, are scripted. I have loads to ask the candidates when they are in the boardroom. I do have a crib sheet of questions I need to ask about their actions during the task. The sheet is made up from great notes provided to me by Karen and Tim. It's no secret. The sheet can be seen in full view. How else do I know what to ask? ? So I guess he's kind of dodged the question on scripted jokes. But he does have a crib sheet in front of him, so he has agreed with that. And he went on to say that a previous candidate 20 years ago, a star-crazed candidate, James Max, wanted to, with a wish of fame, told the media that the chair he sits on in the boardroom was on a stand to make him look taller. And he put, "What an idiot. It was a standard office chair where the height can be adjusted up or down, hence no need to bolster it up." Needless to say, the media took it hook, line and sinker. So he's, I guess, dispelling some of those rumours himself in his signature style.
Always straight to the point.
Definitely worth a look on his Twitter feed. Some of it's political, which you can possibly laugh at, but yeah, it's fun when he does a few live tweets with the Apprentice episodes themselves.
Are they tweets anymore? Not to pick on the news.
Well, yes. What exes? Are they Lord Sugar's exes? That means something else, doesn't it? I don't know. I'm not interested in Elon Musk. It's still Twitter in my heart. Now, one of my favourite segments on the show is where we find out just what the candidates from previous years have been up to since we last saw them on air. So, James, you're back with Where Are They Now? And who are we going to be talking about this week?
So, where are they now? I've picked the first and second to be fired last season. So that was Emma Rothwell and Aveen Walsh. So Emma, the online gift store owner, and Aveen, the hair and beauty salon owner. So Emma, whoa, she's been quite busy. She got engaged in May last year and has been busy jet-setting off to various weddings. Ibiza, Marbella, Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Lots of weddings on her social media. Some more business-related news. She attended, I think it was called Ideas Fest, where she had breakfast with the founder of Yo Sushi. That was in Tring, Hertfordshire. I guess getting like-minded business people together. She caught up with someone from the Apprentice in Prague. I noticed a October photo dump where I immediately noticed the inclusion of a sausage dog, so may have one of those. Had a record-breaking weekend, presumably to do with her gift shop, where she took on 8 new team members. This was early December, so presumably a lot of sales for Christmas. And then after Christmas in January, broke 60,000 sales, which is pretty impressive.
That's great. I love it when, their businesses are still going strong, but also I swear in the updates you tell us all the wonderful places they're visiting, and then I sit here and think, oh, well, I'm still in London.
The one last thing I have to add for Emma is there was on the Dominican Republic wedding trip, I loved the caption, "A Caribbean sunrise is the only reason you'll see me awake before 7 a.m. Unless it's 4 a.m. in the house."
Yes, exactly.
I added that, not
no, but we've seen proof.
Indeed. So that was Emma. And then Aveen, also lots of wedding photos because she does a lot of hair and beauty for weddings. I think she released a product called Blue Bomb Cooling Eye and Skincare Stick, which I obviously know all about.
With your skincare routine.
Indeed. And finally, she was at Regency House Belfast in November last year, showcasing some of her secrets for doing hair and beauty for weddings. So that is where they are now.
Now, James, you said you had a bit of an update for us before about some of our predictions and maybe some other things you've seen in this episode.
Yes, so a very quick check-in on the hours update and some brand watch. So we'll start with the hours update. Got my spreadsheet to hand, channeling the secretary's energy. So we had 8 distinct hours, total 9 this episode, which gets us to a total of 11 cumulative distinct hours so far in the first 2 episodes.
That seems like a lot already.
Yeah, I feel it's going very fast, so might be in for a big one if we're already we're nearly over halfway and it's only been 2 episodes, but they may be piquing our interest too quickly, so don't know. Stay tuned with that. And then brand watch. So firstly, the biggest brand that was featured, I think it's called a Tony box. That's what Joe, watching with me, told me. The Tony box is the item that they were using both at the start for the brief and also in the task, where you put the little figurine on the box, and depending on what figurine it is, it plays a different thing.
Well, that's interesting. I've not heard of that before.
Neither me. Thank you to Joe for that one. Dan, I noticed wearing a nice pair of Gucci glasses.
Nice.
And obviously the headphones. And finally, quite a funny one. obviously, you know, I'm always interested in what the designers are using. So I was trying to think, what is that software they're drawing on? And Jo again chimes in that it is Procreate, because she is sitting next to me using the exact same software while watching The Apprentice, drawing out some designs for clothes.
I love that. I was going to say, she wasn't drawing an astronaut in a toilet, was she?
No, absolutely not. No toilet-based drawing was being undertaken. So for next week's episode, we are turning poultry into profit, according to Lord Sugar. It's chicken versus eggs. So I assume one team will get some chicken, the others some eggs. They'll probably have to make something and sell it to the public. I always love the food-related challenges. So I'm really looking forward to that.
It's going to be a good episode. But that's all from the children's story book episode of Back to the Boardroom and The Apprentice. Don't forget, if you have any opinions on the show, or you want to tell us about your predictions, or you can rank our elevator pitches, you can get in touch with us on Instagram at Back to the Boardroom, or you can send us a voice note or a WhatsApp message on 07379 171 890. So James, do you have a final thought for us this week?
Yes, so no matter what your week gives you, it will all be fine.
It will all be fine.
See you next week.
See you next week.